Welcome back. Breakfast Central is the show. It's time for you to be part of it. So be our call analyst, let's put it that way, by calling the number you'd find shortly on the screen. But in the meantime, our guest is in-house with us, is looking all dapper. I must warn you, be careful, because what you're about to see will indeed motivate you. Well, we're talking about the publisher of the Nature newspaper, Mr. Ikechukwu Amaechi. Drums roll. There he is. Yay. All right. It's good to have you. Award-winning. Yes. Forgive me, please. I forgot to add the award-winning.
Don't try it again next time.
Yes. I'm so sorry.
They might forgive Common, but I can never forgive you.
Well, nobody says it's forgiving, though.
Let's not preempt the authorities.
Because one person is lavishing in Kirikiri, another one is somewhere. But welcome to Breakfast Central. Let's take a look at the papers very quickly. We'll start off with The Punch, which happens to be our very first paper here on Breakfast Central. The front page of The Punch newspaper has it, panic in ADC as EFCC goes after key members. Aha!
The eagle has woken up.
Ooh, okay. And let's look at it. EFCC grills coalition member Tambuwal over 189 billion naira fraud, insists on probe. Key coalition members push back as anti-graft body summons 3 ex-governors. Who and who are they? Well, we'll get to find out. Federal government generates 5.21 trillion naira from oil sales in H1. And IG extends tinted glass permit enforcement to October 2. We talked about that extensively in the last previous hour. And customs intercept 10 billion naira worth of arms, expired drugs. It keeps happening. And the big one, Ibom Air passengers remand ignites selective justice uproar. 5-phase trial over 2022 Owo Church terror attack. But let's focus. Let's narrow it down so we can move on very quickly. There's a big one there by the corner. There. World Bank approves fresh, like fresh tomatoes, fresh 12.98 trillion naira loans to Nigeria in 2 years. Another borrowing is here again. But let's start off with a big one. Panic in ADC. Mr. Amaechi, what's your take on that?
Is this politically motivated, or EFCC is just doing their job?
Just doing their job.
Or the timing is just a coincidence?
Well, we have to put that in perspective. Of course, when the news broke yesterday that former governor of the Sokoto State, Aminu Tambuwal, was invited by the EFCC. Of course, if you read through the lines and if you read the story yesterday, it was almost the same thing. A source in EFCC said this when the EFCC spokesperson was contacted. He said he has not. You find out that it was the EFCC that leaked the story to the media. There's no doubting that fact. So, again, what do they intend to achieve? I think it is the same old template of media trial. But having said that, look, it has always been my position that corruption is one of the major issues we have in Nigeria. Corruption is the reason why our education system is not working. Corruption is the reason why our health sector is underperforming. Corruption is the issue why we have so much poverty in the land. And corruption is the issue why we are borrowing like mad people when we have enough resources that, if well harnessed, could actually serve the public good. But that said, we need to fight corruption if Nigeria is ever to climb out of this sex pit that we are in right now. Let nobody make any mistake about that. We must fight corruption. But then, look, it didn't start today. Right from 1999, right from, I think it was in the year 2000 or so, that the administration of President Olusegun Obasanjo set up the EFCC. And right from the very first chairman, Nuhu Ribadu, who incidentally today is the National Security Advisor, the allegation has always been that the EFCC, despite the very noble goal behind the establishment of that institution has been turned, wittingly or unwittingly, by every government into an instrument of political vendetta. Now, the reference out there is that, well, it doesn't matter as long as the people who are being picked up are corrupt. Again, there is merit in that line of thought. But where I disagree is the tendency that when those who have been picked up join the party or the ruling party of the day,
their sins are forgiven.
those cases are dropped. You don't get to hear about it again. The immediate past governor of Delta State, if you remember, Ifeanyi Okowa, was accused of embezzling almost $1 trillion naira. He was pulled in by the same EFCC. Since he joined the APC, nobody is hearing about that case again today. If Tambuwal was still a member of APC, or was not as involved, deeply involved as he is in the coalition that is plotting to unseat President Bola Tinubu in 2027, the question needs to be asked, would he have been pulled in yesterday as he was? So in as much as we need to fight corruption, in as much as the schools that because I have joined the opposition is not tenable, we also need to be careful that we don't use EFCC as a tool for political vendetta, as a tool to fight the battle of the government in power at any point in time. Imagine if it were when those in power today were in opposition. Of course, they made the same noises, they made the same allegations and all that. And to imagine that the former chairman of APC, who is today a senator, Adams Oshomole, publicly said that if you cross over to APC, then your sins are covered.
And they use deodorant for your sins.
Exactly.
While
Then
they use insecticide for the sins of opposition.
your sins are covered. So there is every reason to fight corruption, but let it not be you are only found to be corrupt or you are only alleged to be corrupt when you are in the opposition. A lot of people believe that many of the reasons, and a part of the reason why many people in the opposition today are trooping to the APC is not because they have found anything good in APC or that they believe in APC, but because they also fear that if they don't, then EFCC will go after them.
So
we need to fight corruption, but we need to fight it with a whole lot of justice. We need to fight it with a whole lot of fairness, and we need to fight it with a whole lot of dignity. That is the only way we can win the war against corruption.
I remember recently when we had a conversation with the spokesperson of the EFCC, I did put up this question to him about the seeming bias and immunity, reported immunity, alleged immunity that members of the APC has. And he retorted and said, look, we still have cases of this EFCC people under, of APC individuals under investigation. That was his word. So I guess they're still investigating. But
all right. Still talking about selective justice. I mean, that's a story, that's a big story. On the next paper, let's move now to the Nigerian Tribune. On the front page of the Nigerian Tribune, Value Jet Ibom incidents. It's double standard. Justice must be fair, equal, Obi says. Police arraign female passenger, court remands her in Kirikiri prison. Airline operators ban her from flying for life. Federal government to punish Ibom air official who released passengers' indecent video. Tinted permit police extend enforcement till October 7th. Nigeria's health sector funded 90% domestically, says minister. Cautious optimism as INEC braces up for CVR exercise. Reform fatigue sets in as 16 trillion naira debt service erodes gains of fuel subsidy removal, analysts say. Tambuwal in EFCC custody over 189 billion naira cash withdrawals. DSS arraigns 5 over 2022 onward church killings. So that's good news. And finally, some good news for some members on this set. Health, bottom left corner. FDA approves new eye drop that can fix farsightedness without glasses.
Wow, so as I'm sitting here now, I can see what's happening in Ikeja bus stop.
Yes,
If I use the eye drop.
You can see what's happening in Kirikiri.
No, I don't want to see what's happening
But
there.
I mean, just to
It's
mention
not a palatable
that
place.
this is the point where we open the phone lines. If you'd like to react to any of the stories and share your thoughts regarding the Ibom Air Value Jet saga, Kwam 1, Kwam 2, the numbers to call are on your TV
And Kwam
screen.
3.
Kwam 3.
And if you notice, we've started having issues in the Nigerian aviation sector just after Mr. Oshomole's incident. So
All right.
maybe he's the one that plays something there.
Spirits.
For the spirit.
Let's hear Mr. Michi.
No, but I'd like to hear his take on
I'm talking about
recent incidents.
I'm talking about the Kwam 1, Kwam 2. I think we are not quite right. I think we already have a Kwam 1 that is not Kwam 1. If you ask me, the Kwam 1 is Oshomole.
So maybe we should have named it Oshomole.
So it would have changed the name to Osho 1.
Osho 1, Osho 2, and Osho 3. So because look, this saga, like Benga just said now, at least in the recent months, it started with the Oshomole, who blocked the boarding or stopped the boarding processes of APs. The authorities said they are still investigating it. Of course, Oshomole is a big man. Nobody knows where that investigation is right now. Then we had the Kwam 1 and the Kwam 2, Comfort Emerson. Look, I've watched that video, at least now the one that was released by Ibom Air. And somebody said that we may run into the problem of a single story.
Danger of a single story.
Yeah.
Because this is coming from one source. And we've not had if the Comfort of a lady did any recording herself, that we've not had from her. But that said, let me also say that no matter what the issue was, that Comfort did not behave well.
At all.
There was no reason to
All the way.
go into that altercation, fisticuff, and all that. There was absolutely no reason. You know, I fly frequently, and you have this tradition.
Sir, you have to be careful. You fly airplanes. Because this is Nigerian context.
Okay.
Let them not think you are a wizard.
So dramatic.
I fly in.
I'm only protecting you, sir.
Okay. Now let's move on. And you know, I've been in flights where people are told to switch off their phones, which is a standard procedure. And you see people arguing, my phone is on flight mode and all that. But you are asked to switch it off. Now, this is barely a 1-hour flight. Will you die if you don't make use of your phone for just 1 hour? So whatever it is, Comfort did not behave well. And it is also good that the law is swift. She was arrested, charged to court. I never knew that the Nigerian legal system could be
So efficient.
as efficient and as swift as it is in Comfort's case.
Yeah.
So, is it a well-deserved common pants? Of course, it is still an allegation until she is not convicted, no matter what we saw on video. It is in court. Let the court process now pan out and let the pronouncement be made on the legality of what she did or what she did not do. But, you know, Festus Nakayamo also condemned the release of the video, which he said is indecent. And if you ask me, I agree with him. In the social media. It is also good that he is saying that whoever released that video must be sanctioned. So we are waiting. It won't be difficult to identify who released that video. So
it won't be difficult at all.
we are waiting for that to
All right, we have a caller.
happen.
Sorry, we have a caller from River State. Hello, good morning. Lucky. Sorry for keeping you.
Please turn on the volume of your TV set as well, and then go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, honestly, I don't know what is going on in this country. We talk about corruption. Like our former, we have the past government that have already been charged for corruption cases. Person like our Senate president, our Senate president, Akpabio. When we talk about his own last time, it was when he crossed to the APC. His own sin was already forgiven. We talk of a former governor of Abia State, Atikoji, almost the same thing. And we talking about the former governor of Delta State, Okowa, almost the same thing. His own sin is already before forgiven. And we are talking about Tamboa because of the coalition they form in this country. Are we playing in this country? It's not fair. We all are Nigeria. Let's do things at the right way so that this country can move forward. We are not look at what is happening in other countries. It's not like this. We cannot move forward like this, fighting corruption, you take your opponent as your enemy. Is that how to fight corruption? I'm not happy. I mean, Nigeria, we all are Nigeria. We all are brothers. Let's look for ways to move this country forward. It's not by fighting ourselves. We are not enemy. Because we are running the same different political party, we are fighting ourselves. Is that how this country will move forward? I don't think so. Thank you, my sister.
Thank you for joining and sharing your thoughts.
Yeah, so, well, like I was saying, look, it is good that we are doing what we're doing now in terms of prosecuting Comfort Emerson. But people have also raised that issue, and that was the major point that Peter Obi made. What about Kwan? When justice is selective, when punishment is meted to people based on who you are,
Who you know,
and what you are, then the justice system cannot be seen to be fair, cannot be seen to be credible enough. Look, the crime Kwan committed is as grievous, if not more grievous, because his could be likened to
Terrorism,
a hijack, because you stood in front of an aircraft that it cannot move. Kwan delayed that flight for almost 1 hour. And rather than handcuffing him and taking him out of the tarmac, which was what put the pilot in problem now. Because when the doors of that aircraft, when the door was shut, Kwan had no business being pleaded with any longer. If he said he was not going to move, they ought to have handcuffed him and taken him out of the tarmac.
the same way Comfort was removed from the tarmac yesterday.
Exactly, bundled out. But here we were pleading with him, so much so that the pilot, again, I'm not supporting what the pilot said, because no matter the level of provocation, lives were involved. and she shouldn't have moved that aircraft. But the moment that the engine was switched on and the door was shut, the airport security could have taken from one out of that place. Okay, now, instead of the man being charged to court, NCAA, I think their spokesman granted an interview yesterday where he was saying that it was Ibome that charged Comfort to court, and therefore that ValueJet should have charged Kwan to court. And because ValueJet did not do what they were supposed to do, that was why they referred the case to the Justice Minister and I think the IG of Police, that they have done what they are supposed to do. Of course, the IG of Police and the Justice Minister, I can bet you they're not going to do anything.
About the Kwan case?
About the Kwan case.
All right, let's hold on. We have Jumbo calling from Lagos. Good morning, Jumbo. Thanks for calling.
Good morning.
Good morning. Please go ahead.
Thanks for having me.
Make your contribution, John.
I want to talk about the issue of the Ibom Air. You know, politics have so divided us in this nation that we have allowed it to be. Like your guest is saying, when the issue of Oshomole happened, if the authority and our law had taken its course, I believe the Kwam 1 one wouldn't have happened, and this one that just happened recently that we are describing as Kwam 2 also wouldn't have happened. But you see, if you go to our social media and see what people are discussing concerning that of Oshomole, the division there, then when you get to Kwam 1, the blames and all that. That is why this are happening. And this is not just what is happening. When you enter our airline and see the behavior of people, those that will stand up to tell you, do you know who I am? Then you begin to wonder what the law of our nation is all about. So is it so selective that the commoners are in obedience and there are people that are not in obedience to the law, or the law does not even exist to them? So I want to say that exactly what happened to Ms. Emerson should be meted to everybody. It shouldn't be selective. If Oshomole has been cautioned by the law and say probably Kwam 1 did his own and he got arrested, this one wouldn't have happened. In a sane society, when we leave the shores of this country and go to a country that is well organized, the way we behave, you won't believe that we are Nigerians. We behave we coordinate ourselves. Even we behave better than the people that are there before us. Then the moment we drop down to Nigeria, it's as if the mentality will just change. I just pray that we leave politics. We leave politics and behave well. The society belongs to everybody. We are one Nigeria, and we should stop this division so that we can move forward. The nation is backward, and I pray that this time. Thank you.
Thank you for your call. Let's move on now to another story. I know we've touched on this Kwam 1, Kwam 2, Kwam 3 situation, and I'm certain that it will continue because we hope that the NCAA will carry out, and including FAN will carry out their investigation and then give us a full detail. And then Nigerians are also waiting to see what will happen to Kwam 1 since the same investigation is ongoing. Is it going to be the same? What is good for Peter, also good for Paul? But I'd like us to look at this story very quickly. We have another story on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune, or better still, yes, let's look at Nigerian Tribune very quickly.
Okay, you want to take a story there?
Yeah, I want to take a story there very quickly. It says, tinted permit, police extend enforcement till October 2nd. Nigeria's health sector funded 90% domestically, says Minister. The health sector funded 90% domestically. And
well, I don't know what it means by funded 90% domestically. Was it supposed to be funded from external sources? It doesn't make sense. We have for so long lived on feeding bottle from the donor agencies, and now that Donald Trump has pulled the plug, as it were, on funding sources like you said and other things, we should be able to fund our institutions, whether it is the health, whether it is education, look, living on charity from international donor agencies or from foreign countries, living on aid from abroad is not the way to go. Nigeria has a lot of resources that, if well harnessed, can fund our institutions. What is preventing us is the greed of a few. If we remove the greed of a few, we can. Look, when you open the newspapers every day and you hear, let us even take, without agreeing that the Tambuwal story is true, 800 and something billion. One man. Okowa, 1 point something trillion, one man. Assuming those stories are true, how can only one man take this much? And, you know, we are talking about there are people in government today that their corruption has international dimension, as said by one man who is also in government with the people who he accused of their corruption going beyond our borders. So, like I said, I've not read that story, so I don't know what he means by saying that our health sector is funded 90% domestically. Where was the funding supposed to come before?
All right. I want us to take the final paper, the big story on the Vanguard, because I think it's a very important story to take. Armed herders, Boko Haram kill soldiers, others in Benue and Borno. Women protest fresh killing of 3 by herdsmen in Yelewata community again. Block Makrodi Lafia Road. Boko Haram attacks military formation in Borno, kill 2 soldiers. NAF air strikes kill scores of terrorists in Zamfara. U.S. calls for coordinated response against Boko Haram, ISIS, other terrorist groups. Report of attack of troops in Kirawa fake, says theater commander. Again.
You know, Olive, I'm tired of talking about
I am tired.
this nonsense, these killings and all that. Yesterday in the office, I was discussing with my colleagues in the office, and I told them, I said, look, the cheapest thing in this country today is life. Life is so cheap that nobody cares again. This same Yelwater, barely 2 months ago in June, 200 people were killed. There was uproar. President went to that place, did not even visit the community. It was all fanfare. The governor had to close schools so that people
can come and greet.
So it became a jamboree. Students were lined up on the streets in the rain to receive a president who ought to come manning. It became a fanfare for the president. That speaks volume of the values that we have right now. Now, 3 people again were killed in their sleep. We have many Nigerians living in IDP camps today. I used to remember in those days, as a reporter, I think with the news magazine, in the 1990s, the IDP camps we knew about in the early 1990s were IDP camp for
Liberians.
For Liberians. Was it somewhere in Oyo State or so? I visited that place. I covered it. I empathize with the people who were forced to flee their country to live in IDP camps here. We were feeding them. Today, Nigerians are living in internally displaced persons camps in their own country. Look, it is absurd. It is absurd. When people talk about a failing state or a failed state, these are the parameters.
And the funny thing is, if you read the story, they will tell you that part of what they're protesting, the women are protesting, is that they are alleging that the soldiers have failed to protect them.
Exactly.
That the soldiers are not there or they don't respond on time.
Exactly.
Giving the police and the youths the burden to protect themselves, which again will go back to the conversation about state police. It just feels like we're moving in circles.
We are. It is not that it just feels. We are moving in circles. And I can assure you, as sad as that will be, I'm not a prophet of doom.
It will happen again.
The next
Everybody
1
says
week,
that.
2 weeks, is going to happen again. If not in Benue, in Plateau, in Nasarawa, and all that. People are being killed every day. And the funny part is that at the end of the day, we are negotiating with the terrorists who are giving us the conditions for laying down their arms. Sometimes the state governments meet up those conditions, fulfill those conditions without these people laying down their arms, and they go on and commit more violence. No country, no matter how we want to
Cover it or paint
cover it up, no country survives like this. It is abnormal. What we have in Nigeria is an abnormal situation. People accuse you, you always criticize, you always do this, you don't see. But hey, if something is good, if Nigeria is working well, why won't I be happy as a Nigerian? A Nigeria that works for all is for the good of all. You should be proud of your country. You should talk positively about your country. But talking positively about your country does not mean that when you see things that are wrong, you can't talk about them. What will those people, if I sit down here and say all is well, those people that blocked the road yesterday in Benue State, have we factored in their own emotions, their own sentiments?
the blind, and also the blind people too.
Have we thought about the trauma of going to bed,
Not knowing if you wake up.
not knowing if you wake up in the morning, and not waking up in the morning is not as if that people cutting your throat.
Those who are displaced. It's really a sad story.
So, and these people who are living in IDP camps, when will they go back? When will they go back? Who is protecting them?
And that's a good way to wrap up this session today. When will they go back to their homes? Who is protecting the people in the IDP camps? The stories are heartbreaking, but we'll continue to track them, and our hearts go out to the people in Yellow-Water community. Thank you so much to our guests for joining us virtually, physically, to our online audience. The YouTube comments, unfortunately, we're not able to take today, but we will take tomorrow. But thank you so much for being a part of the show. Thank you, Mr. Ikechukwu Amaechi, for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your
It's a
time.
pleasure to have you.
Thank you, Liv. The pleasure is always mine.
All right, we'll be out of the studio now. Jasiri comes in the next few minutes. See you tomorrow. Au revoir.